a program. We could probably put this into a like a document or something. I'll probably have our VA put this into a document like an SOP or something. But tonight, guys, this is going to be real good. You're going to want to tag your teams on this one. But looks like we are live on a Facebook. So you guys, I'm so excited for tonight. We're going to talk about kind of going back to our roots a little bit. And some of you that have been with us for a really long time, you know that this product is a very rare product. It's a unicorn product. It's a product that doesn't come along more than once or twice, literally in a lifetime. And I don't use that lightly. And what I want to do tonight is take you through sort of the SOP, the standard operating procedure of building a long-term residual with practitioners. And I say this because I want to start with a little story. And then I also want to preface this by saying, if you are a practitioner and you're on this and you're listening, I absolutely welcome your input and your feedback as we go through this. I know we have Dr. Phil here. As we go through this, we're just going to be referencing some things, but I'm going to drop this entire note-taking process right here into the chat. So those of you that are live on the Zoom chat, I'm going to pop this right into the chat. This is the entire outline for tonight. Okay, so don't worry, you don't have to take notes, or you can copy and paste this into your notes and fill in the blanks, because I didn't want people to specifically just be so into the note taking that they're missing the spirit of this tonight. So I put it all together for you. And if someone feels so inclined, they can copy and paste this onto the Facebook live chat if you want. You want to tag your teams on this, but let's just circle back to December of 2009. It was my first week on the job. Ozma sat me down and she said, in her little corner office, and she said, David, we've got to grow this business. What do you think we should do? And I said, Ozma, based on all the other products I see in the industry right now, Liquid BioCell has more patents, more clinical validation, more research than any other product. And it is poised to be, a billion-dollar company. And I said, we need to go get on the trade show floor and work with professionals and let this product do the talking. Let the research do the talking. Let the results do the talking. And she said, okay, go find it, go do it. Let me know, what the budget is. So I found this little trade show. Now, we were a brand new company, so we didn't have, tens of thousands of dollars to go invest in trade shows. And I'm going to tell you the inside story since it's 2009, and Ozma would probably just chuckle. I found the A4M World Anti-Aging Conference in Las Vegas, and it happened to be happening within about 10 days of when I first started my first day on the job. I was actually director of sales at the former company, Jusiru, and within a week, Ozma made me the vice president, which was so cool because I'd never been the vice president of anything at that point other than my badass self. But I took the A4M and I gave him a call. And I said, how much for a little 10 by 10 booth to set up at A4M, World Anti-Aging Conference, 5,000 of the top doctors in the world for anti-aging. They said $4,500 plus insurance, plus this, plus that. And I went, oh my gosh, I can't even go to Ozma with this because you also have my time to get out there, my hotel, everything. It was going to be like, the budget was going to be like almost 10 grand. So I got to thinking, what if I just wheeled and dealed with this guy? And I says, hey, what if I just came in for Friday and Saturday? Could you make me a deal since it's last minute business? I mean, heck, most of these people book years ahead of time, and I'm calling you a week before the event. And the guy says, listen, come in on Thursday. I'll get you set up. I'll do it for $1,500 out the door. Don't stress. You're a first time vendor. So boom, I had my green light. Went to Vegas with about 30 cases of liquid collagen in my trunk, loaded them all into the Vegas Convention Center. And I kid you not, it was such a popular booth with so many people wanting samples. And I took the book of clinical trials that Ozma had, just the white pages in a little flip book. And I'm telling you right now, I was scrambling. I had to call my wife's dad's sister, who happened to live in Vegas. She was like the only person I knew in Vegas. And I said, please, you got to come down and help me pour. I need help. And she like dropped everything. And she was a real estate agent. She came down and she was pouring. She got her son. It was like all hands on deck. And that's how popular it was. Back in 2009, these doctors We're all over it. So guys, that story is to tell you that step one in your prospect of building a long-term residual with practitioners is biosell, biosell, biosell. You got to focus on biosell. With all the different things going on in our company, all the different products, we have a lot of verticals we can drive down. But guys, biosell has never let us down. It never has let us down, and it never will let us down. It only gets better. It only gets better. And so I just want to go through these steps with you tonight and think about what it will mean to your business to have long-term stability, long-term volume that will pay you like mailbox money for the rest of your life, that will be like an ATM machine that you can just go to once a month and be like, hey, I need $500. Hey, I need $1,000. This whole presentation is not going to be a guarantee of success or income, but it's going to be the roadmap that I've followed and that I've watched every other person that's built a solid business on practitioners. Look at us from 2009 to 2023. Here we sit with this team consistently has well over 7-figure volume. There's always highs and lows, but there is a solid, consistent base of volume that there of people that will be on this product for the rest of their lives. And that is rare to find in life in general. And we have it on our hands, and it is still a gold mine. So I'm going to take you through the steps real quick. Just so you know, again, I've listed this out in the chat, so you don't have to go too crazy taking notes. I'm going to go fast. If you have a question, drop it in the chat so I don't have to stop the flow, because I'm going to run quick. And then if you want to chime in, or you are a practitioner or whatever, jot down your bullet points and we'll have a little round table at the very end and we'll fill in the gaps. All right. So the first step I talked about is biosell. So step one is when we're talking about biosell and focused on biosell, we want to lean in on the research, the awards, the patents, the history, the credibility, the manufacturing, the quality, and our overall success. And you want to be familiar with that. So if you're brand new with us, it might behoove you to kind of go on the website, make sure you jump in and take a look at all that we have. Take a look at all the success that we've had, all the awards that we've had. Most of this is on the Modere website, but you got to know your way around the resources, because step one is you knowing about biosell. All right. So you got to know your way around. We have resources such as the Collagen 101 flip book, probably the single-handed, in my opinion, best resource we've ever had, if I don't say so myself. Number two, we have the Collagen Matrix Facebook page, of course. Number three, we have the Truth About Collagen document that was put together by Modere, by the company. You can get that on the website. You can get that on, I think, on the Buzz. You can also get that on the Collagen Matrix. I believe you can also get that in the Modere Life app. We, of course, have the Modere website. When all else fails, go back to modere.com and seek around. You can find a lot of stuff. So the $1 million question for step one is this: how is liquid biocell different from anything else on the market? And if you're not familiar with that process, do yourself a favor and go through the 30 minutes on the Collagen 101, watch the short series of Q&A videos. They're about 90 seconds each, and really familiarize yourself. You should be able to, on one hand, count the bullet points of how biocell is different. Liquid versus powders, number one. Two, the source, right? Where our source is different than anything else out there. Most efficacious source. Second is the molecular weight, right? How bioavailable it is and how your body absorbs it, because it's the sweet spot, in the kilodaltons, the 1.3 to 1.8, average of 1.5 kilodaltons, right? Number three, number four, the most awards and research of any product on the map. And number five, more patents, the most patented product on the market. So there's really 5 easy key ways of how we're different than anything else out there, but you got to know that. That's step one. Step two, you want to identify your prospects. Now, this is pretty much sales 101, right? Identifying your prospects. But I think the key with practitioners, and feel free to jump in the chats with anything that's going to benefit this conversation, but I think the key is to taproot your network. You always want to start with your warm market. So John Maxwell said it best. The number one question that has served his entire career, John Maxwell, was, who do you know that I should know? Who do you know that I should know? You guys, within our networks, not everybody's in business with us in our network. I wish they all were. And not everybody that's in business with us is really even focused on Modere. Not everybody that's in business with us even cares to build a business with us. But guess what? They will refer you. They do care enough about you to refer you. So, but step one is identifying those referrals. You got to taproot your network. What do we mean by taproot? I'm actually removing a whole bunch of bushes right now. I'm removing 7 giant hedges and replanting them on the other side of my property, because we're doing these Hollywood hedges in our backyard to kind of like make it really private. And I was talking with the guy that's an expert gardener, and he's talking about how the root systems get so heavy and so deep. If you've ever uprooted a tree or a plant and you see all these roots going down, our business is the same way. We have the 6 degrees of separation. Through one person knows 10 that would be a good fit. A second person knows 10, and that person knows 10 more. Guys, the number one biggest resource that we have, other than like Facebook for connecting with people, is the power of the referrals. So you've got to ask for referrals. You got to pound the pavement and get out there and say, hey, you got to have a one-liner. You got to have a one-liner that's sort of like, my business is connecting, professionals with, an award-winning, patented health product for joints and skin. Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody that would be a good fit for this? And even maybe come up with your own referral program. We've had trainings like this in the past, but guys, I've been so excited in my past when rarely it happens, but occasionally I refer somebody to somebody and they do business with them. And in my inbox pops a $50 gift card or a $100 gift card. You know what I mean? So be willing to ask for referrals and take care of the people in your warm market. What if you messaged 10 people right now that are customers or friends, and you said, I'm looking to expand my business through medical practitioners, doctors. Who are we talking about? All right, doctors, med spas, estheticians, massage therapists, sports rehab people, athletic trainers, right? Holistic medicine, estheticians, plastic surgeons, chiropractors, right? The list goes on and on. That's what we mean by, professionals, by practitioners, okay? Energy workers, right? Like holistic health, natural medicine. Guys, there are these are people with databases of people who thrive on natural alternatives. And not every doctor in the world is going to recommend a supplement, but I'll tell you what, a doctor that's worth their weight in gold will look at alternatives like Dr. Lou Brady, the late great Dr. Lou Brady, who said, and I quote, if I would have had this product, Liquid BioCell, 20 years ago, I would have saved thousands of hips. He said that in his own words. And so there are doctors out there that will be a good match for this, but you got to identify them. You got to ask for referrals. And the last part of this identifying prospect step, which is step number 2, is pounding the pavement. I remember Richard Hollowell. You guys know Richard Hollowell. He said to me one time, and I'll never forget, I said, because he was in the field, I was at corporate, and we were rapping about the business. And I said, Richard, how do you find these prospects? He says, David, the secret of our success is that I never run out of people to talk to. And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you just know all these people? He says, you know what? If there's a day where I don't have somebody on my calendar to talk to about Liquid BioCell, I open up the yellow pages and I look for somebody locally in my area that's an esthetician, a dermatologist, and I'll call them up and I'll ask who runs the practice. I'll ask questions and I'll figure out if I can go down and meet with them, and I'll drive down there and I'll meet the owner and I'll find out what they're all about. You guys, the work is there. The question is, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to do that guerrilla marketing style? Are you willing to do a cold call? Are you willing to go to a trade show? I look at Nina Rubin and how she's consistently thriving in her business, how she consistently hits milestones and earns the trips and hits Director 1 gold and gets those orphans, and she set those goals. But you know what? She's got 1 or 2 events every single week. In her mind, if I'm not at an in-person event at least once or twice a week, I'm not really working my business. That's how her brain works. So I ask you, like, you can do lead lists, you can have consultants, you can get into Facebook groups and practitioner groups, and there's so many ways to pound the pavement. The question is, $1 million question is, if it was my full-time job, commission only, to secure practitioner accounts for, let's say, your employer, how would you show up? Would you show up a little differently? If you woke up at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning and you were like, okay, I just started a new job, and my job is I need to get medical or professional practitioners with databases of trusting clients that trust what they recommend, and I need to connect them with Liquid BioCell and get them enrolled and get them launched. If that was your full-time job and you had nothing else to think about, how would you show up? So that's the $1 million question. Let's move on to step 3. Is this adding some value? Are we getting some value? All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, you guys. All right, next, step 3. Customize your approach. So this is a real simple step, and I'm not going to stay too long on this, but basically, this is really just getting to know, like, this is like your game plan, right? This is just understanding how you're going to approach these people. And what that means is once you kind of identify your prospects and you kind of, before you start the prospecting, it's kind of like in baseball. If you've ever played baseball, you walk up to the batter's box. Okay, you're getting ready, all right? You're getting your head right, boom. And then, okay, then you're like, okay, I'm ready. You put one foot in the batter's box and you're like, okay. And then you get your other foot in the batter's box and now you're ready. Okay, but right before the pitcher's like winding up and just about to throw, you do a thing called a load. You lift that front foot up and you get ready to fire. This is the loading process, okay? You do your research on their practice. You got to look at their network, their social media, before you even start the prospecting process. So in other words, if you've got kind of a list that you're working, do your homework, guys. Just get on and spend 5 minutes, even 10 minutes, figuring out what they're about. What's their wheelhouse? What are they focused on? Or do they have a big social media presence? If they don't, maybe that's one of your value propositions, which we'll talk about later. Maybe you can help raise, now that we've all got a business on social media, maybe there's a doctor or practitioner that you can add a nice value proposition. You can actually help their entire business by helping them be more savvy with social media and reels. That's stuff we're all learning how to do. We all learn how to do it out of default. So you got to start thinking about what your value proposition is going to be and be prepared with sort of similar case studies. Hey, here's Dr. Phil. He's a chiropractor. He does, he sees private clients. He does BioCell. He does these videos. He does these and reels and things. Be prepared with other people that are doing it. There's people like Tara Lambert, who's one of the fastest growing teams. You see, 2 years ago, she was just jumping in, and now you see a third of her team, is in our top 25, top 50, right? They're all practitioners. All of her people like Sarah Outlaw and all these different people. Look, check out what they're doing. Be prepared with similar case studies, right? That you've seen, and then be ready to work around your schedule, guys. People always forget that when you're reaching out in sort of the sales process, we always think it's about our time. This is one of my little things with my mom, because when she calls me, it's always about her time. And she never, ever asks like, oh, is this a good time for you? She just figures I won't answer. But if I do answer, it's like, hey, let's go. It's all about her time. And so I got to tell my mom, like, hey, I'm picking up. I just have a quick minute, but I always want to try to pick up because that's what you do for your parents. But just remember, guys, you got to be ready to work around their schedule. And the $1 million question in this process is, does this look like someone that would be a perfect fit to rep Liquid BioCell? All right, let's move on to the most important part of the process. We're moving at a good clip. So we're at step 4, and we just got 2 steps left, and we're going to breeze through this. All right, step 4 is the prospecting process. Notice I didn't call it the recruiting process. I feel like in this world of medical professionals, they've all got things going on. They've all been approached 1 million times by 1 million different reps. We have people in our business. I know, like Amber Rainsbury used to be a pharmaceutical rep. It was her job to go from practice to practice to practice all day long and see doctors, bring them Starbucks, bring them lunch, get out that corporate credit card and wine them and dine them so that they would carry her pharmaceutical drug. In the mind of the prospect, there's got to be, all they're thinking is, what do I care? What's in it for me? So just in your mind, that's what you're going to be answering is, why do I care what's in it for me? So in the prospecting, the first step is always make your list. right? We're always going to make our list. That's part of the step 2 and all of that stuff. But next is really the value proposition that you offer. All right. And so we'll kind of flush this out in step 5 a little bit. But when we talk about the prospecting process, the most important fundamental is asking $1 million questions. Guys, within 3 questions, if you ask the right questions, you're going to get the wheel spinning and have the greatest likelihood of success with practitioners. Okay. So I prepared a little bit of a template of questions that you can ask that will get their wheel spinning. And I just did this on a mentoring call with somebody actually from another team that called me. An Elite 2 called and said, David, 2 of the top people in the entire company on corporate told me that your team has the most practitioners and the most success with liquid biocell. Feels like, oh, dude, that was a Freudian slip. I've done that before, actually, when I've said success. It's not the only time I've said that Freudian slip. But yeah, with biocell, we have the most success literally across the board of any team in the entire company. Why? Because we've been doing this for a while. We lean on the product and we ask $1 million questions. So part of the rapport building is I'm gonna share this story from Palm Beach Gardens. I can't remember if it was Barbara or Vanessa or one of the team out there. Maybe it was Lauren. I'll never forget that. This was like a decade ago, but there was this big plastic surgeon they had worked for months to get a meeting with. And they're like, we're going to bring in Dave Simney, the big guns, and help us close. And it was all set up and we had the products and brochures and we're carrying all this stuff. And we get in there and I get into the office and it was like, no, you go in. I don't want to be in. And I was like, okay, I'll go handle it. So I walk into the office, right? And this plastic surgeon's like, time is money, man. This has got like 20 minutes. And I walk into the office. And the first thing my brain did was I looked on his walls as I was walking in casually. And I saw that he had like an Eagle Scout plaque on his wall that showed he was like a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout. And I went, hey, I instantly found rapport. And I said, hey, Eagle Scout. Hey, right here, baby. Another Eagle Scout right here. You can tie knots with the best of them. He's like, whoa, how long have you, and we talked for literally 15 minutes about camping, hiking, fishing, Boy Scouts, traveling. And at the end of this little 20-minute window, we had like literally 3 minutes left. The assistant's like, doctor, your next appointment's here. And like, we're all rushed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I flew all the way from Anaheim, California to have this big lead meeting with this big plastic surgeon. And I've been just jibber jabbering about Boy Scouts. And he goes, so does this stuff really work? I go, doctor, I wouldn't be here if it didn't. I mean, it's the most awarded, most researched collagen literally in the world. You will not be disappointed, and your patients will see results, especially post-operatively with their scarring and all that stuff. You couldn't have a better product. Literally like 10 seconds. And he goes, all right, cool. Talk to my office manager. We'll get set up. We'll go. That was it, you guys. Okay, so I'm saying this to kind of tell you that building rapport is so important, you guys. Finding that, let the guard down. And there's whole trainings on building rapport. For me, it's compliments, do it every time. Wow, I love your dress. Wow, I love your watch. Like, wow, you have a beautiful family. Or, whoa, did you paint that? Like, you walk into an office, you walk into a room, you walk into any situation, and you instantly look for abundance and possibilities and something to be positive about. And it's easy to do when you train your brain. That's why I study, Shad Helmstetter and negative self-talk and how to change it and all these things. That's why I study that, because when you train your brain to see possibilities and abundance, the world will just open up. Success will just come. And so when you're building rapport, look for things to compliment. Wow, I love your headshot. Hey, I just saw a picture in Hawaii. Like, when did you take that? Who took that picture? Find something to be blown away by. Blow them away with a compliment. And watch what happens when you start to ask $1 million questions. All right, so what are the $1 million questions we can ask to prospective practitioners? Because they've all heard it before. Well, let's start with the basics. Hey, I'm just curious, do you recommend any collagen brands currently? If so, which ones, right? Let's seek first to understand before we're understood. Let's really, in the answers to these questions, guys, we will be told everything that we need to know to be able to connect Liquid BioCell to this practitioner. Okay. Do you retail any supplements in your practice? Now, if we already did our research in what is it, step 1 or step 3, whatever, if we've already done our research, we may already know that, so we can drill down a little bit. These are just general questions to start the conversation for you, but you're unlimited in the amount of questions. But these are the kind of questions that I feel like are $1 million questions. So we want to know, do they retail supplements in their practice, or do they recommend online affiliate links only? The reason we need to know this, guys, is because if they're retailing, remember, most likely they have to buy inventory. That's an added expense. What's our value proposition? Guess what? Ding, 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 ding. We don't require them to buy inventory. Just a bottle or two a month for their personal supply, for their office, maybe for sampling, but we don't require it. Can they buy in bulk and retail it? Yes, but we have a value proposition. The fact that this business won't cost them a lot of money. They won't have to outlay a bunch of cash on product that they have to sell through retail that might expire or may not sell or any of that. So do you retail supplements in your practice or online affiliate links only? Next, just out of curiosity, I always lead a question with, I'm just curious. I always lead in with, I'm just curious, or out of curiosity, what's the typical commission amount for those affiliate links? Or just out of curiosity, what's your retail markup? So if they're affiliate link, you just want to get an idea, because obviously you know why we're asking that. If they say, oh, we get, by the way, affiliate link in Amazon is 4%, Nordstrom 4%. There's a lot of companies that think a 10% affiliate rate is really high. Guys, 10% is where we start, but any practitioner will easily be at 20 to 36% like that. So if you're saying, what's the typical commission amount or percentage that you get on your affiliate links? Let them answer the question. Don't come in with, well, we have this and here's our bullet points and blah, 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 blah. No, just ask them, because maybe they think 20% is a really great commission. But guess what? Now you have another value proposition. 36%, baby, with unlimited referrals. Don't ever forget that we have unlimited referrals. Customer refers a customer, refers a customer through infinity. And that doctor, that practitioner gets paid on all those referrals as if they were their own customer. It is crazy, the exponential possibilities here. Next question. By the way, if they retail products, how often do they have to buy and ship inventory? Isn't that a great pain point? You're reminding the doctor, the practitioner, that they have to buy inventory. So I'm just curious, how often do you have to buy inventory? I mean, to me, that sounds like a headache. Oh my gosh, we're out of granola bars again. Gotta go to Costco. Like, that's a pain in the butt. Guys, everything goes direct ship, direct to the consumer, no middleman. Yeah, Phil, buying inventory is work and it's their time. What's the most valuable asset to anybody on the planet ever? Time. Because we ain't turning back the clock, right? We're all, as this is ticking by right now, we never get this sand back. It's never coming back. So you got to bring the value when you're going to practitioners. They're busy. They got no life. I'm just assuming, but the ones I've seen, they're pulling their hair out and they want an alternative. You've never heard Tara Lambert's story. Tara Lambert is doing Modere in full force. And she looks back on her life as a practitioner with a full-time practice and employees and overhead and inventory and insurance. She's like, oh my gosh, where's Modere been my whole life? And I did that for like 17 years or something. Search Tara Lambert in our Freedom Legacy team and watch she did one of the first calls she did like a year or two ago. I can't remember. And she did a Saturday training for us and shared her story. Check it out. All right, let's get back to the questions. Are we getting value so far? Is this all valuable? All right, we're on the home stretch, guys. Here's some more questions. I'm just curious, how many clients do you see in a day or a week or a month? Now, why am I asking that? I want to get an idea of I want to get their wheels spinning. So if they tell me, oh, I only see 1 or 2 clients a day. Okay, I need to know, are those high ticket clients? Like if it's 1 or 2 clients a day, are those high ticket clients? In other words, are these guys, I'm just curious, what does the average person pay, if I can ask, to come and see you? Like if I needed an appointment with you, what would that cost me roughly? I mean, are we talking, is it $300 to see you? Is it $50? Is it $3,000 for an exclusive visit with you? I mean, there are all over the gamut. Trust me, I work with a doctor in Beverly Hills, and we went down there for 1 hour. It was $3,000 to see this guy. And that was the friends and family rate. I kid you not. I just did my taxes for last year. So guys, ask that people, how many clients do they see? Now, in a day, if they see 10 clients or 20 clients, start to spin the wheels. Okay, so in a week, what is that, about 200 a week? Okay, so roughly, what about, let's just say, wow, 1,000 a month. So in a month, you see 1,000 people. So do you see where my mind goes? And then I say, well, so you see about 1,000 a month. How many people do you have in your database for your practice? Oh gosh, we have a list of 10,000 people. So in my mind, and then I want to know, just curiosity, how many employees, sort of hypothetically, where I'm going with this is this. We take the total amount of people that they would see like on an annual basis, or the total amount of people they have in their database. And let's just start with a nice, easy, simple number. What if 10% of them, this is what gets the wheels spinning, guys. What if 10% of them got on BioCell, just on average? So let's run a rough scenario, do some math. You guys, this is what I do when I talk to practitioners. I actually do this math. So let's do the math right now. I'm going to do it with you because I'm not excellent at math, but I can figure this out. So let's just say round numbers. Okay, bear with me, doctor, here just for one quick second. So you see 1,000 people a month. Let's call it 10,000 people a year, because with vacations and holidays and stuff like that, 10,000 people a year. Let's say 10% of your clientele were on a monthly order for a year of BioCell upon your recommendation. So our number we're working with is 1,000. Okay. That's on an annual basis. So every month they order, let's say that average commission, let's call it $40, right? Let's say they're maxed out at the 36%. So we're talking $40 times 1,000. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? That's 40,000 a month. Do you know how much that is a year? That's oh geez, 10, carry the 1, Pythagorean theorem. That's $480,000. Thanks, Maureen. I'm here every Tuesday. That's $480,000. And you say, well, is that possible? How is that possible? Do you understand, guys? When you look at the top 10 customer pods for who is it? What's the girl's name? Ashley, what's her name? And go any month on a kickoff call, they do the top 10 customer pods. You take that number in their pod. Another one is Amy Hightower. You guys take 36% of what that number is. People are making this much and more with Modere. So let's just say, okay, David, those numbers sound real fishy to me. Okay, let's slash the 10% and let's just go to 1%. If we move the 0 over, just one more over, that's still $48,000 a year if 1% of their clientele were on this. Do you think they could get 1% of their clientele on BioCell, a product this good, more awards, more patents, more research, more credibility? Guys, you got to get their wheels spinning. All right, let's move on. And then, of course, I just say, look, are you open to trying our collagen when you're out of your current supply? I understand. Look, there's all kinds of objections. Well, I already carry this, and here's why, and it works well for me. People put up their guard. Now, their guard's going to be lower if you blew them away with an awesome compliment, you complimented them on their practice, you told them you're a big fan of their work, you've been following them for months. I'm like such a big fan of your work. If you've blown them away with like compliments and rapport, then they shouldn't be so hard-nosed. But they may say, well, I've been, like hypothetically, they're like, yeah, well, I recommend Vital Proteins. Ding, 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 ding. Like, wait a minute, but A plus B does not equal C here, because they're recommending Vital Proteins, which sucks, which is getting written up when all these articles and all this stuff, but yet they represent themselves as a holistic practitioner. I've got some work to do to like do some education. And so I'd probably say, are you open to sharing a little bit of my education, as I've been working with collagen for quite some time now? Are you open to sharing some information with you that you may want to consider when choosing, which brand to put your name on, right? So I would say, are you open to trying our collagen when you stock out of your current supply? And the next thing I always say is, listen, can I just get your address and send you some of my collagen, no strings attached? I would love to send it to you. That's at my cost. Okay. Now I'm going to insert something right here because we're about to be at step 5. I'm going to and that's by the way, that's the $1 million question for this section is, can I send you some of our collagen, no strings attached at my cost? Just all I need is your address. Okay. Now I'm going to explain this. I understand not all of you have an unlimited budget to be sending out very expensive collagen to all these doctors. Okay. So I want to reiterate that we have a VIP program, and it works exclusively through me. Any of your elites on your team can do it, but I've just got it down to a science. I'm happy to work with every one of you in this group to do it. But if you've got a VIP, it's got to be like an influencer, a practitioner, somebody that's got a big database. We've got to be able to show that they're, they've got a presence. It can't just be like, Aunt Flo who met a chiropractor. No, it's got to be like someone with a website, with a social media following. We call it a VIP. I can get a substantially discounted one-time order directly through my account to send to them. I just need an address. Tell me what you want to order, and it will be 70% discount. It does not go through commission, does not go through any compensation plan. None of that goes through the company VIP account, and all of you have access to it. This is no longer this exclusive thing, got to be an elite. No, every one of you, whether you just started today or have been here 10 years, have access to this VIP program. I need an address, I need a name, and I need exactly what product you want to send. I will submit it through my elite rep. It will get mailed out, and you will pay me via PayPal or Venmo when I get the total from the company. So on 2 bottles of liquid BioCell, it might be somewhere around $50, something like that, okay, with tax shipping. I don't know the exact cost, don't quote me, but it's going to be highly, highly affordable because the company wants to invest in VIPs to grow this business, okay? All right, step 5. We're on the home stretch, you guys. I said I want to get this done in 45 minutes. This training, hopefully you're finding value in it. I hope you guys tag your teams, and then we're going to have a little mastermind at the end to fill in the gaps. All right, step 5 is closing / onboarding, implementing systems, i.e., and then / concierge, which I call the white glove service. Okay, so most practitioners are super, super, super busy. So the $1 million question, I'm gonna skip right to what I put at the very end of this presentation, and I want you to ask yourself this. And the pretext to this is understanding that if I get a practitioner and I build a relationship, in fact, one of the very first practitioners that I connected with, literally within my first 2 weeks of being on my own in September of 2016, her name's Dr. Teresa Rispoli. She's a holistic practitioner in Calabasas, California, real ritzy place. And I went in there and I called her, I emailed her, I texted her, I got an appointment with her. I drove 2 hours out there like 3 times, but boom, to this day, 7 years later, she is a regular member of my business, contributing. She is here. She's got a solid business to this day. And we talk maybe twice a year. You guys, the idea is, are you willing to do what it takes to get practitioners in your business if it means that you've got long-term potential sustainability for residual income? Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to follow this roadmap that we've laid out? Because it's work. It takes work. It takes intention. It takes resolve. It takes saying, hey, I'm going to get 1 practitioner a month. And by the end of the year, I'm going to be a I'm going to rank up and double my volume through practitioner business. Why? How hard is it for you to go get 10 customers versus a practitioner that has 500 customers and they just get 10% of them is 50, 1% of them is 5, right? I mean, you guys, like the work that it takes us, average Joes, okay, to go get customers, practitioners can do with one post, one reel, one recommendation. So just understand you're leveraging. These are high leverage activities. That's what practitioners are. So when we talk about closing, my number one tip is always know your next step. Say it this way. The next step is, we schedule a time, takes about 20 minutes. I'm going to get you set up with an account. I'll get you plugged into the system. But part of that is getting a date and time on their calendar, right? Now, I've worked with some doctors that are just like, they're so all over the map, it's impossible, it goes for months. Sometimes you have to say, well, if they're replying to my text right now, hey, would now be good? Can I give you a quick call now? Because if they're taking the time at that moment to reply, they probably have the time. So don't ever be afraid to work with intention and get a date and time on their calendar, okay? So the other thing I want to preface this is I want you to know what you're willing to invest to get a big account. Now, the caveat to this is you don't necessarily have to invest anything. There are plenty of practitioners out there. This is a tax deductible expense. This is a business expense. You shouldn't ever feel obligated that you have to pay for their enrollment, pay for products. Now, I say that because if I were to go to a trade show and spend $500 for a booth and $300 on product to sample, I'd be investing $800 for potential return that I don't even know. So for me, if I know a doctor's willing to come in and I'm willing to cover the $40 and a couple bottles of BioCell, and I tell them, hey, it's got to be in your name. The next shipment's on you. But if you launch your business within the next week or two, you'll probably get your products for free or deeply discounted. What's it worth to me? And my rule of thumb in my business is I reinvest at least 5% minimum back into my business. Some months is 10%. So use that as a rule of thumb. So if you're making $1,000 a month with Modere, you ought to be investing at least $100, $50 to $100 in promos, in growing your business. That's just kind of the golden rule in our industry. Like this month and next month, I'm going to be putting thousands of dollars. I already looked at the summer sizzle. There's already like 5 people that have qualified. I'm already $500 out the door. We're not even halfway through the month. I guarantee you I'll be laying out a couple grand cash this month and next month. Guaranteed. Might be more. It is what it is. So just think about it and ask yourself what you're willing to invest. Is this account big enough potential for you? And here's another one idea for you. Let's say that you've got a team above you. Let's say there's 2 or 3 people that are going to benefit from this doctor if they come on board. Don't do it by yourself. Get those people to help you in this process. And ask them, hey, would you be willing to go in on this if we can get this big doctor? I got a big practitioner. She's really interested. Would you be willing to go in on this with me? If we all chip in, if 3 of us chip in, $50, $60, we can probably cover the enrollment. I think it'd be a good move. So guys, get creative. Don't see closed doors. See open windows. Okay? So the next thing is, what do you say to kind of close the deal? For me, one of the lines I've always used is, hey, is there anything else that you need to know before we get you set up with an account? I mean, it's real straightforward. I don't want to beat around the bush with sales parlance and NLP techniques. Nah, they've seen it all. Let's get right to it. Hey, is there anything else that you'd need to know before we get you set up with an account? Well, I guarantee number one answer you're going to find, well, I need to see that it works for me. Great. I hear that all the time. And trust me, after over a decade in this business and million bottles sold every month of this, we know it works and we know it's going to be working for you. But I agree. Let's get you set up with an account, get that first shipment out there. In the meantime, I can help get your business together so that when you're happy with how it tastes and how it shows up and everything, that you're ready to run. How does that sound? How does that sound? All right. So then the next step that I use to get them to move forward is so can I set up your account? Can I share with you how to get set up for an account? Takes about 15-20 minutes. I can get you set up today if you want. Again, I need to know in the back of my mind, am I going to cover it for them, or am I kind of going to test the waters and see if they'll just plink down their corporate card and get it done? It's okay letting it kind of go where it goes. But if they're kind of like, well, I don't know, I say, well, listen, would it help if I just covered the enrollment today and got you set up? That way you don't have to worry about it. And then I'm going to get you all the tools you need to be set up. How does that sound? Just say, like, how does that sound? Again, that's a value proposition. So what are the tools that we're going to get together? Guys, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. We got a site seller notebook. Now, this is a custom tool you can put together. Not everybody's going to want it, but it's like a flip book. I'll show you examples. I have one. Our plastic surgeon office in Beverly Hills, a girl named Lori Stapp and Sin Castro put this together, and it's the gold mine. All they did was print out every white paper, every resource, every PDF that they could on BioCell, and they just printed it out and put it in those clear sheet protectors in a little 1-inch white notebook. And on the front, it was like very clinical looking. It was so simple, guys, but you need a color printer. You know what I'm saying? You need a laptop or a desktop computer, and you got to put all these PDFs in one spot and just hit print on that bad boy. And, you know, it's kind of an old school thing, but it's a site seller, and it's something their doctor's office has. And that's a real convenient thing you can do. You put that together on your own. I don't have like click here and it's all done for you. But I can show you an example of the one I have. It's low tech. Number 2 is the Modere bottle. I mean, that's the best prop you can have, but there's a graphic that I shared called it's a QR code. And what we're doing is in the practitioner's offices, we're covering the name Modere, and we're just saying, let me just find it. I'm going to find it because I'm not going to do it justice. So let me find it. And I did post it and I put it in the chats. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to share with you this, I put it in all the chats, but this is a QR code example that you guys can, that you can do a QR code for the office so that customers can scan it, and it will link directly to the shareable cart, you guys, for their office and for exactly what product they want to recommend. And I just found it. It says, "We did the research, so you don't have to." It's a brilliant graphic. Liquid BioCell is the only collagen this office recommends. And it says, to receive $10 off your first order, scan here. All right. Now, I posted this in the chats. It says register at the bottom, says register your own free account and place Liquid BioCell in your cart to receive your $10 discount. Now, this one specifically has sport. You can do this with all the products. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make an action item tonight. I'm going to have our VA, our virtual assistant, prepare this QR code scan for every blend. How does that sound? Every blend. And it's going to leave a blank box, and you're going to have to figure out how to get whatever QR code you want on here and put it in that blank box. Does that sound fair? All right, that'll be an action item for me on this Zoom. All right, the next tools, physical brochures. If you need some physical brochures, I know Amber Rainsbury on our team had a supply at one point. I have a supply. Okay, so we have physical brochures that are still left. And they're not that hard to make on your own. But if you need 10 or 20, 30, hit me up, hit Amber up. Some of us will be able to get you some brochures. Maybe it's only 10, maybe it's 30, maybe it's 50. I've got a stack this high that I bought from Amber. But physical brochures, if I were going into a practitioner's office, I would want them to have some physical brochures. And then resources, we already covered in step 1, the Collagen 101 tool, the Collagen Matrix, Truth About Collagen website, Modere website. All right. Last but not least, guys, is the workflow. So you want to establish, as part of the onboarding process, the workflow. What do we want to know on the workflow? 1, we want to know how is their office set up? Do they have an office manager or somebody that's going to run the office? Like, how are they set up? Is this the one person show? Is this a one-man band? Or is this an office with 30 people and satellite offices all over? We need to understand the scope to understand the workflow. How does your office work? Is this doctor passing it off to their office manager? So do we need to sign the practice up and sign up the office manager? Maybe give that person an opportunity to make a little extra money. How are they set up? So you got to figure that out and flush through it. You got to understand, how do your customers, you got to understand, do their customers, do they retail? Do they check out? Do they scan? Do you email them? What happens when I go check out? How are they paying? Okay, cool. You got to figure out the logistics. Can the front office manager like ring them up on the Modere website and get them in the Modere system? If so, I need to train them how to do that. Can I set up a call? Like, this is the work part of it, the workflow. You got to set up their practice for success. The next thing we need to know is, how are they going to launch? Are they going to do an in-person launch event? Are they going to launch on social media? Are they going to launch with an email to all their people? Help them craft it. This is what I mean by white glove. You got to get in the trenches and get dirty with these guys to help them out, because they don't want a bunch of extra work. Again, I go back to, what are you willing to do to get a practitioner in your business? Understand that when you help manage their account and you help oversee that, the dividends will be there. The ROI will be there. Trust me, long term. It's just those first few months that are critical, getting people in and helping support them. I even go so far as to say, listen, if your customers have questions, give them my cell phone number. Tell them I'm your liquid biocell rep, and you give out my phone number like candy. I tell that to people all the time. Do you know how much I would love my phone to ring with people with questions about biocell from a new practitioner I signed up? Guys, let's be grateful for what are we willing to do? All right. Last but not least, remember, it's all about relationships. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it fun. Build rapport. Follow up like a boss. That being said, let's put it on gallery mode. Hope that was beneficial. I know that took a long time, but I've had this in me for a while and I wanted to get it out. What didn't we cover? Dr. Phil, I want to hear from you first. Fill in the gaps for me. Tell me this was incredible. Mic drop, whatever. Or add to this for anybody else in the last few minutes.
Dave, that was great. Cell phone drop. Here we go. I'm going to catch it here. That was awesome. Dave, so much detail in there. You really hit it all. I think you gotta, like you said, so I'll just emphasize your points, because there's really so much information here in the chat, looking over the notes. Use the tools, utilize a three-way call. David's here to help you. He's got a busy schedule. You can reach out. I think it's important to definitely, like David said, do research. Know the background of who you're talking to. If they're a dermatologist, okay, are they an OBGYN? Are they a family practitioner? Look up their site, see what they do. Look at something that they've done. Give them compliments. Compliments lets the guard down in a big way. I'll tell you, so many people come in. I think LinkedIn is actually the worst place for spamming. I get spammed without anyone asking me one single question, out of the blue, all the time, 1,000% of the time. No one asks a question. And what's funny is when I ask questions back to direct the conversation, then the conversation, they go, are you, someone asked me if I'm wasting their time. I'm like, I'm trying to get to know you. And they don't want to get to, so you want to get to know the person. That's the point. Get in there, find out what they're doing, give them compliments. And then have like David said, a 30-second spiel. I don't know, Dave, where I can put some of the PDFs. I have some of the old documents that you sent out when we were Jusuru then and BioCell, but it's a PDF of the 37 clinical trials. You mentioned some really good things. Flipbook, use that. Use the resource that David mentioned. But when some practitioners want to see the 37 clinicals, I've got the PDF and I just email it to them. I also have a little.
So drop it in. We'll drop it into freedomteamboard.com, okay. And we'll have our VA again combine them. So however you want to send it over to me, and then we'll get it in there. That's great.
I'll give it to you in an email.
Perfect.
I give them the liquid biocell PDF. There's one that talks about the benefits, and then there's one from Lou Brady. It's got a picture of him, and it talks about the things that he said. So it's 3 PDFs. I put it in a little email and I send it off and I make some notes. In my spiel, when I talk to people, if I'm talking to another practitioner, It's like, hey, do you use collagen? Have you heard of hyaluronic acid? Have you heard of a type of collagen that's proven to elevate types 1, 2, and 3? Have you heard of any therapy that can elevate hyaluronic acid 6,000% in the entire body? Have you heard of a collagen that's been featured on Fox News, NBC, Good Morning America, and Meet the Doctors? Meet the Doctor, featured, not paid advertising, featured. Meet the Doctors was part of our Cell Proof line. So these are things that can kind of get the door from closing shut, along with opening with the compliments. And then you say, that, have you heard of this? Asking a formal question rather than tell them, and then go from there with a lot of the things that David put together here.
All right, Phil, a question from Madeline. How do you get past the pyramid or MLM question when they say they're not interested? I'm glad she asked this because I just answered this and I'll give my answer. But Phil, why don't you give your answer first?
So the objection coming from could you say that again? Is this one of those?
Yeah, is this a pyramid? Is this an MLM? That comes out of a lot of people's mouths sort of just ad nauseum because they're just programmed to say, oh, if it's MLM, ding, 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 there's the warning sign. And I think it's still, I can't believe it's 2023 and we're still talking about this because we're actually more an affiliate model. Actually, let me do this. Here's what I've seen the newest practitioners on our team do and say. They refer to this not as an MLM. Again, we're not here to say, no, it's not an MLM. That would be a lie. We are a multi-level marketing because I'd rather get paid on one level or I'd rather get paid on multiple levels than one level. Who wants to just get paid on one level? That's boring. But what I've heard them say is this is an affiliate-based compensation plan where you can earn up to 36%, including on all of your referrals. So there's really no MLM attached to it unless you want to refer other business builders, and then you can earn a commission on their success. And so that's a real distinct way to say it. So if they come back to you and they're snarky and they're like, so is this an MLM? You can say it's social retail. Technically, yeah, it would be a form of multi-level only in the aspect that you're paid by helping other people be successful. And that's all that really is. I mean, it's 2023. I wouldn't be part of a scam. I've been doing this for a decade. Like, it's 2023. Everybody does affiliate marketing now. So that's how I've heard it, and I hope that helps.
I'll just add that I say this is a direct sales model, and it pays you based on referrals. It's very similar to what David's saying. And if they come back with something really snarky, to me, that really clues me in that they might not be good. They might not. I'm not saying that they aren't, but I can go into, because I know how tedious it is to unbox supplements in my office. I know the pain point. Doc, talk to me about how you enjoying the companies that you're working with those supplement companies. How long or who do you have to pay to unbox those supplements and get them on the shelf? How often are you doing that? How well are these supplements paying you? And you can ask them about that. Would have you heard about a system where you don't have to put it up on the shelf? You don't have to designate expensive office space to hold these supplements. You don't have to either take your time, like David said, the most valuable thing, or pay another office manager or someone to put these up. I mean, these are different angles, but you can ask them questions. How is that working for you? Have you considered wanting to make more with the supplements that you're using and helping people that way? So I go in it that way and just kind of remind them, get them telling me about those pain points with those supplements and just listening to what they're saying, asking questions.
All right, fantastic. We're out of time, but does anybody have any last minute questions or anything we didn't cover that you want to drill down on real quick? Give it 5 seconds here. You can unmute and jump in. All right. I think it's been a very productive hour. It is Monday, July 18th. Tomorrow, don't forget, we have the one and only, do we have Ozma tomorrow? Let me check the calendar. Oh my gosh, I was about to say we have Ozma. I know we have What It Takes on Wednesday in the One Voice Facebook group for the company. I know we have that at 4 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to be awesome. The What It Takes have been awesome. I highly recommend you guys tune into that. And it does not appear that we have Ozma tomorrow.
David, she's on every other week.
Every other week. Thank you, Maureen. So that is it. Oh my gosh. Friday, the 21st, they're announcing the end of month promo, which may or may not be spend $99 and get free liquid biocell collagen chocolate chews. I don't know what it's going to be. But if that was it, we would be set for an incredible end of month promo. Mic drop. Love you guys. We'll see you later.